Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go-to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I'm Jen. I'm a passionate health educator, a whole food plant-based culinary coach, and a master herbalist. And I'm here with Dan, who is an exercise specialist and a wonderful master herbalist. Together, we dive into the world of natural healing, bringing you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice. We draw from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods to help you achieve modern optimal health. I'll start to say modern health. No, we don't want modern. We want optimal health. So today we're talking about healthy aging and muscles. When we think about aging and anti-aging, a lot of times people are worried about their skin and wrinkles or their hormones declining and how to maintain those hormones and finding the latest miracle supplement. I can't tell you how many clients are always calling me about the latest supplement to help them with healthy aging. But we found this article, I think Dan found it, that talks about one of the greatest predictors of how you'll age easier, which is what we all want. We don't want to feel like we're aging, and that is our muscles. And so today we're going to focus on the muscles, not only how they function, but also how they're showing that exercise doesn't just build our muscles, it helps us with repairing muscles and even repairing at the cellular level. And so we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about foods. Next week, we're going to talk even more about foods and muscle recovery and herbs that are great for that. But let's start with why muscles are so important. Why, as we age, should we focus on building more muscle?
Well, a lot of people assume as we get older, it equals disease and disability. And that's still like I think the prominent thought for most people is if you're old, you're sick, right? And
Right.
but the funny thing is, my first degree was exercise science.
Hmm.
And we're talking about that a lot of people are in a nursing home because they just got too weak. They got too weak to function
Hmm.
and they had to have help. And so muscle's not about just about vanity, okay? Like I think that social media, you see all these people up there all ripped and everything,
Right.
but it misses the point of muscle as a agent for longevity because it helps us move around, sure,
Hmm.
but it also helps your body process blood sugar, which you talk about that a lot, Jennifer, blood sugar.
Right.
It also helps. I saw an article where if your muscles are stronger, it actually is takes stress off of your heart because you don't have to work so hard at daily activity. So you things are easier for you. So this takes strain off your heart. It helps protect your joints from becoming, or if you had joint pain, it can actually help. I've had clients with a lot of joint pain,
Hmm.
and when I got them stronger, their joint pain got so much better because the muscles actually protect the joints, especially around the knees and the back.
Hmm. I was thinking about
Um,
that too. I know for me, like if I was having knee pain and someone said, well, you need to work on your quads, focus on quads. But I want to tell people, you don't want to just jump in the gym and start. Like if you have knee pain, jumping in and doing heavy quads isn't the best course of action because we need to actually protect all the ligaments and those tiny muscles around the knees too. So if you have knee pain and you jump in and start doing something heavy, there's a really good chance you're going to end up tearing something in the knee. We hear about knee tears quite often, and so we want to make sure that we're taking care. So starting small and increasing mobility around the joint. If it's not the knee, maybe it's the hip or the ankle or the shoulder. We want to go light, get that mobility with the lightweight, and then increase from there. So don't jump in. It's okay to be a little sore, but you shouldn't be so sore that you can't move the next day, things like that. But the muscles are so important, and they're actually a metabolic organ. We know the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolic rate. You're going to be able to eat more. You're going to be burning more calories if you have those larger muscles, which we're going to talk about the four main muscles in a minute. But those larger muscles, if we can strengthen those, they help with not only our metabolic rate, but also other metabolic organs, which is the heart and the pancreas and the thyroid and the liver and other things as well. So helping with blood sugar. Also, when we are strengthening the muscles, we don't realize it, but we're protecting the bones more as well. If we can lift heavier, then we're helping to strengthen those bones too. And we want to make sure that you're working a variety of different muscles on both sides of the body, and that helps with balance. And we know that one of the things that puts people in nursing homes is, like you said, frailty, but also falls. And so we want to make sure that we're using muscles, increasing muscles to help reduce those falls.
Yeah, I've noticed this with some of my clients,
Hmm.
older ones over 60, even 50s.
Hmm.
I try to teach them how to do, things like Bulgarian split squats, things like one leg squats, and a lot of them have trouble. And they're healthy people,
Hmm.
but they haven't realized, man, I'm losing my balance. So
Yeah,
I work on a lot of unilateral movements that help them improve their balance because, well, we know what happens to older people. A lot of times they'll fall, break a hip,
yeah, yeah.
and the outcome of that is usually not very good.
Right, right. And, why are they falling? There's several different reasons why we fall. Quite often, it's more the bone breaks. The bone breaks, and then the person falls where they think they fell, and then the breaks, or it could be, stroke or something like that is why they fall. So a variety of reasons, but strengthening the muscles helps protect the bones and there's a better chance of protecting. I know we do a lot of balance work in Qigong and even like cross body balancing, so that we're working on the brain and also balance, to help protect the body. That doesn't necessarily build muscle, and so we want to definitely work on building muscles as too. But do you want to start us off on the research study that you found?
Yeah. Well, the research studies are talking about exercise. It acts like a reset button for aging muscles because they have found, and this is new to me, as we age, we have damaged proteins that build up inside the muscle cells. And so they identified a gene, they call it DEAF1. It rises with age and it interferes with muscle repair. So this is one of the reasons why when we get older, our recovery is slower. But what they found is exercise actually lowers this gene
Uh-huh.
and it allows the muscles to clear out the damaged proteins and repair themselves more effectively. That
Isn't that,
this is emerging research. It's pretty amazing. Because I
yes,
can see even with my older clients, I'm seeing this. They start to look younger, feel younger, they're healing faster. This is after a few months of training.
yeah.
And all my people are over 40. I usually don't have young clients, they're all over 40.
Hmm.
And across the board, I'm telling you, it's like they lose 10 years off their age. I mean, as far as their movement and the way they feel, and they're more energetic and more confident.
I love it. It's fascinating. I love how, I mean, they're explaining it more by telling us about the genes. And so I'm wondering, the body's amazing. It was perfectly aligned with natural healing, right? So we have this system in place to clear out the damaged proteins in our muscles. We just have to figure out how you do it. Well, it's strengthening the muscles. So it just made me think of, like Alzheimer's. I just learned today actually that Parkinson's has actually overtaken Alzheimer's, which is
Wow.
which is a horrible thing to learn. But Alzheimer's is so huge right now, and we hear about, cleaning up the brain and how important it is to sleep. But also, it's also called type 3 diabetes. So there's blood sugar issues as well. But we want to clear out damaged proteins in the brain. And so I'm wondering, what is it that helps clearing it out other than deep sleep? Is there something else? Is there a gene that helps with that we just haven't found yet? But that's fascinating. Anyway, that was a total tangent. But I just love that there's something that we can do to help with repairing the muscles, clearing out that protein to help us with the anti-aging. And, just moving helps to stimulate that repair. But then there's also, we need the nutrients. So we have to make sure we're eating those healthy foods that are anti-inflammatory, but that also help with protecting the body. And then there's herbs and stuff. So we'll talk about those as well. Before we go any further, I want to give our medical disclaimer. The information shared in this podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, is for educational purposes only, maybe a little entertaining as well. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. As always, consult your own healthcare provider before making changes to your diet, supplement, medications, or your healthcare plan, even exercise plan. I'm talking to your healthcare provider about all those. So, Dan, let's begin with the first main muscle that helps us with anti-aging.
That would be your legs. And so a lot of people, I've always been around the bodybuilding scene, and a lot of guys, especially when they're younger, they want to get a big chest and arms and back, and they'll neglect their legs. And one reason is because working the legs is harder because they're such big muscles. It's very intense,
Hmm.
but it is also, as we get older, one of the biggest predictors of independence. Because if we can't get up out of a chair, if we can't get up off the toilet, we're gonna have to hire somebody to help us do those things. And
Yes.
so, yeah, I was working with a lady, she was 80 years old, and her biggest concern was being able to maintain getting off the toilet and getting out of the chair
Mm.
because she sees people her age that can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And how important is that? We all want our independence.
Oh, we
Yeah.
don't even think about it
Yeah, and
when
it's
we're
funny that you
young.
said that about I've seen so many bodybuilders where they just have the skinniest legs. It's like, where are you guys?
Yes.
Yes, which we want to talk about balance, right? So not
Yeah.
just balance where you don't fall, balance in your body, right? We want to work all the different systems. But yes, so the legs, so our leg muscles are some of the largest, strongest muscles in our body. And so if we can increase those, then that's going to help with so many different metabolic systems in the body. Yes, and we already talked about falls. Why we don't want to fall. Falls end up People end up in the nursing home, and I can't remember. I read a study. You may remember or have heard it. Like what percentage of people like they die pretty quickly after they fall and break a hip. Not
It's
that,
high.
yeah, not to say that that's what's going to happen to someone or if someone you love fell and broke their hip, but it is a high predictability when somebody dies. Yes, yeah.
And well, there's another study showing too. They make people sit on the floor and make them get back up. And the people that have a harder time getting back up,
Mhm.
their life expectancy is shorter and their all-cause mortality is higher compared to people that can get up using only their legs and not using their hands.
Yeah, I saw that study too. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you want to be
Very,
able to get
very.
up off the floor without you, like, what if you broke your wrist or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you get up off the floor? And so I love that. And so learning how to get up off the floor without using your arms and practicing that is so important. Yes. So what is our next muscle?
Well, glutes, and this is a big one, glutes, which is your butt. And how many older people do you see that have no butt anymore?
Right. Right.
And my mom's like that. My mom has actually signed up to start training with me,
Hmm.
and she has no butt right now. And
You
I
are
told her,
calling
Mom,
out your mom. Sorry,
I
mom.
know, I know. I was like, Mom, your butt is gone. That's not good. So we're going to get it back. So, but see, the butt is it's actually, the butt works together with your legs. When you're trying to do squats and pick things off the floor, it protects your lower back. It helps with your balance again. It helps with your ability to walk, jump, run,
Hmm.
hop, all these things.
Hmm.
Um, it's just so important. Like, I mean, to me, and of course, everybody is important, but I always teach my clients, we want to get your legs and your butt strong.
Hmm.
That is your foundation, like on a house. If a house has a poor foundation, the house isn't going to last.
So
Same thing with the human body.
I have two questions about the butt. Number one, why do we lose our butt? And number two, I've heard that when you're working on building your glutes, that sometimes it's hard to activate actually activate the glutes. The other muscles come into action. And so, how do you make sure you're working on the glutes? And so, start with Why do we lose our butt? Because we're getting up and
It's
down
like,
out of the chair.
well, for some reason, when sarcopenia sets in, sarcopenia, it tends to, that's a good question because a lot of people start to lose their glute muscles. It seems to be universal from people that I've trained. I
Hmm.
had one woman, she's only in her 50s,
Hmm.
and she was starting to lose hers. Now she got it back through 2 years of training. But I think that, we're very sedentary now. Most of us work in offices.
Yeah.
We drive to work. I've seen people drive to the mailbox at the end of their driveway, and it's like maybe 50 yards.
Right. Right.
And we sit on our butts all the time, and we actually sitting on our butts all the time starts to make it weak. It really does. And
Yeah.
so
I,
we're just too sedentary. I'm not saying, look, I'm not telling you have to work out 50 hours a week because you do not,
right.
but you have to work out some.
This is going to sound so I'm back to the old fogies. Back in my day, when when we were kids, riding the bike, I would skate. I skated for miles. I loved skating, and so I'd skate everywhere. I'd ride my bike everywhere. And now, I don't live in a neighborhood anymore. I live in the middle of nowhere. But when I go to places where there's neighborhoods, if the kids are outside, they're on motorized scooters or they're driving golf carts. And it's like, what? Like my where my mom lives, it's a circle. It's a 1 mile circle, and everybody is on a motorized scooter or a golf cart. It's only 1 mile. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
That's
that's a
crazy.
big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like you said, we're sitting, we're sitting in offices. I not that I am a Joe Rogan listener regularly, but he had somebody on there that I do follow. And so I was listening to him and he was talking about how we do things that are so unnatural now. Not that lifting weights is a natural thing to do, but we kind of have to undo our modern day habits where when we look at, the longevity studies and the blue zones, everybody's naturally moving, squatting, gardening, doing all these things, squatting all the time. You squatting down to plant, squatting down to weed, walking to get their food for the day. They're not even storing food. They're walking to get food every day, walking to work, walking to schools. And now we have, we get up, kids go into daycare right away. They're sitting most of the day in school and they're in school, 18 years, 20 years. Then they go to college sitting. Then they go to an office where you're sitting all day. We're not outside. We're driving to work. We're driving to school. We're not getting out and moving the way traditional people's did. And so, yes, we're getting up and down out of chairs, but we're not really adding any extra weight. We're not doing anything additional to push and build those glutes.
Well, it's like that animated movie. I can't think of the name, but it was in the future,
Hmm.
and everybody had lost their muscle because they were always doing things on motorized vehicles. They stopped
Mm.
walking. I think,
Wow. Yeah.
and I can't think of the name of the movie, but it's very interesting. You're so correct that we sit and we sit, and I mean, I train office workers, and they'll work at the office all day, and then they'll go home and just sit down in front of Netflix.
Right. Right. Yeah. I had to get a walking desk just so I'm not sitting while I'm working. Yeah. I'm sitting
Yes.
right now, but normally I'm standing and walking and doing things. But yeah, we all need to start. We all need to move more. And if it's a little sore to get up and move, then that's your sign that, hey, you need to be moving more. Don't push it if you're in pain, don't push through pain. But if you're a little sore, then we need to be moving a little more. So yeah, so definitely working on the glutes. And then, oh, okay, so tell us, even though that's not really the podcast is about, how do we make sure we're activating the glutes when we're working them and not the little supporting muscles around?
Well, usually with the compound movements, I've found after a while, their body starts to get used to that. And I've never had trouble with people building their glutes when we do squats, leg presses, lunges. We also do hip thrusts on the floor
Hmm.
and also help them actually learn how to start squeezing their glutes together. A lot of people lose that function. Even when you're sitting in your chair,
Hmm.
you can start to squeeze your glutes. Like right now, I can squeeze my glutes and it makes my body move up and down. That's one
Yeah.
way to work them.
Okay.
Just isometric, just squeeze them together.
Uh-huh.
And you can hold it. But like I said, most of my clients, after a few months of leg work, their glutes start to come in play. I think it's impossible not to work the glutes if you're doing compound movements. And we're talking about body weight squats, goblet squats, Bulgarian squats, lunges, leg pressing, things like that. Walking up hills.
Hmm.
Walking up hills, walking up stairs is really good. And you can get to where you can actually load it too with a backpack or a weight vest.
Hmm.
Amazing. And walking lunges are amazing.
Hmm.
Pushing things like you can get a sled. Amazon has sleds. You can pull them with your legs and push them with your legs, and that builds your glutes too. So all these things are going to make your glutes wake up. They have to. They have to start working when you
Hmm.
start to move your body. Sorry, the way it's supposed to move. We're supposed to be able to squat. You
Hmm.
know, it's a natural movement.
Right, right. And so many people can't.
Oh yeah, plenty of people can,
Yeah.
especially at first. I mean, first, when most people, I had to make them hold on to something and start to do quarter squats. And then after a while, I'll make them do maybe a half squat, and then we'll go to a full squat, holding on to something
Hmm.
just to get them to be able to do the squat. And because they can't even balance without holding on to something at first. Now, like I said, my clients are older, but I could take a young person, they would have the same trouble if they don't train.
Yeah.
So. And this is the thing, when you get to that point, this is not gloom or doom, but if you're to the point where you have to hold on to something to do a quarter squat, if you don't do something, that's going to lead to disability eventually.
Right. Right. Yes.
This isn't
So,
about, look, this isn't about aesthetics or, I like to look good, but I'm not an aesthetic coach. I'm teaching you to work out weights for your health and your longevity.
yes.
It's
Yes.
that important.
Yes. I love that. And it's so important.
It
Uh,
is.
yes. So tell us about the next muscle.
The grip strength, and this is one I think it gets confused. I think people confuse it. Is linked to a longer life, but so some people say, well, I can go get some grippers and make my grip stronger, and this might help you a little bit, but what they have found is people with a higher grip strength tend to be people they're stronger from head to toe. So their legs are strong, their glutes are strong, their back is strong, they're strong overall, and
Hmm.
their grip strength is just another indicator of their full body strength.
Oh, okay. I know.
So
I
you
saw.
can sit there. Yeah.
Did you see Ann Esselston, who she just turned 91? Yeah,
Yes.
and so she just broke a world record for uh dead hang. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And she's whole food plant-based.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, so if you're not doing it, so you can't say, well, I sit on the couch a lot, but I'm gonna go to Walmart and get a set of grippers and I'm gonna start sitting down and doing my hands.
See, I
That's
did
not gonna
that.
help you much.
I went and bought grippers, so
Well, look, it's good to work your hands. I'm not saying it's not. It is good to
uh-huh.
work your hands.
Uh-huh.
You gotta work everything else. You gotta work every muscle.
Hmm.
I can say this though. There is a study out there showing people that work hand grippers.
Hmm.
It can lower your blood pressure 10 points over time.
Ooh,
Can't
okay.
think of the study. But yeah, so that's something you can think about if you're trying to get your blood pressure down. It's isometric. Any kind of isometric touch your blood pressure they found, but that's another topic.
Right.
So researchers they measure it. They have a well, it's a machine that you grip, but it has a either a digital or a non-digital output. And so you squeeze as hard as you can, and it shows you how much force, like maybe 50 pounds, 100 pounds that you could exert. I think I can do 180 pounds, but I've been lifting for years.
Hmm.
Um, but it does reflect total body strength. It does because the people in the studies that had the stronger grip, well, they also found that they were stronger in everything else too than the people that had a weak grip. So a lot of these people were laborers, like maybe farmers,
Hmm.
construction workers, and lifters.
Hmm.
So it's just so important. Like when my clients, they might not like it, but we don't leave any muscle untouched. Okay.
Yeah.
We even work the neck some.
Hmm.
Not a lot, but we do work the neck muscles. You have to be careful with that, but we do. And that's why we do all sorts of exercise, all types, you know.
Hmm. That's awesome. So what is our number four muscle?
Diaphragm. And this is one I'm like, really, because I'll talk about we should get the abs stronger, but the diaphragm,
Uh-huh.
I never thought about this because that's how you breathe. Well, that's pretty important, don't you think?
Yes. It's so funny. Like I was shocked by this one as well. But when I was thinking about it, like, I'm a Qigong instructor, and when we focus on breathing and moving the diaphragm, in Qigong, we also talk about how it massages the organs. And so it's moving the organs. When we are focusing on moving the diaphragm, we're doing that belly breathing. So, how many people actually breathe into their belly? Like, putting your hands on your belly and breathing into the belly, making the belly rise. Sometimes we don't want to do that. We don't want to stick our stomach out. But that's so important when we focus on that and strengthening the diaphragm and really pulling down. That helps with relaxation and vagal tone and better digestion and absorption of your nutrients. And so in Qigong, that's the main thing. We want to come into full relaxation. We want to activate that vagus nerve. We want to bring the body into flow because that is when we do our best rest, repair, digest. It's somewhere we're supposed to be throughout the day, where for many of us, if we even do it once a day, it's usually when we're sleeping, if we're sleeping well, right? And so I was shocked to see this one on there because I'd never really thought about, oh, the diaphragm is a main muscle, but it is one that we do need to focus on and strengthen and make sure that we are working on a regular basis.
Always teach deep breathing, 10 minutes at least once a day, if not more. And they're talking about how does stress affect the diaphragm? Well, I've had enough stress to where the diaphragm cannot, function properly. I get so tense.
Can't
I
take a deep
can't
breath.
take a deep chest breath if I'm in the midst of anxiety.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
it's horrible. It's horrible. It makes you more anxious because your body thinks I can't breathe.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another one that's really, really important. Yeah, so
Very.
let's talk about some of the foods and the herbs that can help us with these muscles. Now, next week we'll talk more about the foods and recovery of muscles. But number one, whenever someone's thinking about building muscle, increasing weight, doing strength training, the first question that we get as people who only eat plants is, where do you get your protein? You have to have protein for your muscles. And so, Dan, where do you get your protein?
All types of beans, lentils, nuts, seeds. I do tofu, tempeh. Um, I even do a little bit of TVP here and there. It's vegetable protein. I don't do a lot of that.
Mhm.
Texture vegetable protein because it's processed. Also, nutritional yeast has a good bit of protein. Not chia seeds, but hemp hearts. I do
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Soy milk. You can even do what is the other milk? They actually have milk made out of green peas now that have protein.
I've seen
And
that.
you can do a powder. I don't do a powder.
I don't do
I
powders
don't
either.
find out I really need it if I eat enough food.
Yes.
So, and
Yeah,
your
me.
whole grains. I don't do a lot of whole grains,
Hmm.
but I know. I think what is it? Buckwheat's a good source,
Hmm.
and quinoa.
Quinoa, yeah. Yeah, that's quinoa is really high if you can tolerate quinoa. I don't do a lot of grains either, but same thing. Lots of beans, lentils, lots of hemp seeds, even some chia and flax. They do have some protein.
Mhm.
Lots of leafy greens. We don't think of our leafy greens. So percentage wise, broccoli, kale, these dark leafy greens are very high in protein, but you do have to eat a tremendous amount to get
Yeah.
that much protein. But definitely include them because there's other components in there that are wonderful for the muscles that we'll get into next week. But then there's also herbs that we want as well that help with repair, which we'll also focus on next week. But I'm thinking specifically of nettle. We talk about stinging nettle in lots of our podcasts because it's one of the richest in minerals. And so we want to make sure we're getting all of our mineral needs met. And so hopefully you're getting them through your food, but using a nettle tea. Some people even saute nettles and eat it that way. Don't eat nettle raw if it's stinging nettle because it actually will sting. And then oat straw, ginger, turmeric, they're very anti-inflammatory. And if you think about like turmeric, that bright orange color, those colors are also wonderful for helping with repair and building muscles as well. And then berries, other bright colored foods that are high in antioxidants, um, beets, dark leafy greens that help with nitric oxide. So, like I said, we'll get more into the plant-based foods and herbs next week. Is there anything you want to add about foods and herbs to this week, Dan?
I'll just point out one thing when we're training, especially pretty hard, it does tax the nervous system a little bit.
Mm,
So, and I don't use this herb, but I just thought about it, the rhodiola, because I remember a study, the Russians used it on their weightlifting team,
yes.
and their cortisol was lower and their
Mm,
testosterone was higher when they were taking the rhodiola. And these people are training hard and frequently.
yeah.
I think
I
it's something to look at. That's a very powerful study because I mean,
and adaptogen. And that made me think of another one was Eleuthero or Siberian ginseng. The same thing, a
yes,
wonderful adaptogen that's also been used for muscle strength and recovery. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. It's so important.
yeah.
Yes.
The
So go ahead.
recovery is just very overlooked now, I think, because I blame on social media again because they glamorize busting your butt and all the
Build it.
time and yeah, and you don't look. We have to have recovery too. We have to, especially as we get older,
Mhm.
recovery is as important as the training.
Yes. Yes. And we'll definitely tell you more about that and how important it is for recovery, why if you miss recovery, what's going to happen, and then what foods and other things you can do to help with recovery. Because if you're like me, if I, miss a day because I need to have a rest day, then I feel like I'm missing something. So what is it that we can do to help with recovery? So you still are doing something, not just laying on the couch all day, but also
Yeah.
protecting your body. So we'll talk about
Oh
that
yeah.
next week. The exercise is so the whole point of this, not only we want you to know those four muscles, because have you thought about those four muscles before today, but also to let you know that, building muscle strength training is not just for aesthetic reasons. It's not just building muscles. There are so many other reasons that we want to work on focusing on those muscles to help with aging. This wonderful new research that showed, it helps to clear out damaged proteins so the muscles can repair themselves. Ching, right there with our natural healing world. We love the natural healing. And so we want to make sure that you're getting out, moving your muscles and focusing on those four for sure. But remembering, like Dan said, we need to work on all the muscles, not just these four.
Yeah, and sorry, you're talking about the clearing out proteins. There's
Mhm,
also evidence now weight training can help stave off dementia and
mhm.
Alzheimer's disease, but I think it may have the same mechanism, possibly.
Yeah.
But I know I was training, I had a dementia client one time, and it was really helping him. He could walk better. It was crazy. Like we would go to the gym, and he couldn't walk so good, but when we got done at the gym, he could walk better.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So
Yes. So, yeah, so don't wear yourself out so much you can't walk out of the gym too. We
yeah, I
have to have
know.
that right balance. Been there, done that, or getting up the next day and you can't get off the toilet. We'll talk about that next week. Yes, but some things we want you to take away from today's session are we need to move every day. And so we talked about exercising the diaphragm with that deep belly breathing, but also aerobic exercise as in walking every day is so important too. Like I have the walking desk, but making sure you're moving your body. We know we have this lymphatic system that doesn't have a pump. It depends on us contracting muscles. And so that can be moving your bodies, that just moving my arms. I don't have to be lifting weights. I'm contracting muscles that help with moving lymph. And so we want to definitely move lymph. but also
Oh yeah.
strength training, practice getting up off the floor. See, do that test. See, can you get up off the floor without putting your hands down? And then learn how to do that. And then doing things, just carrying your groceries, working on your balance, and moving throughout the day.
Oh yeah. It's all very important. It all comes together. It increases your independence, your longevity. I mean, who doesn't want that? Because life is short. So I want to get as much as I can out of it, you know? And
Yes.
you have to train to do it. I mean, I know there's outliers, that they didn't do anything, live to be 100, but that is an outlier. That is not normal.
So, right, yes, yes, they're always the ones that ate the sausage and bacon and smoked till they were 110.
Yeah.
Those people do exist, but that's
That's
not
elite
the
genetics
average.
right there.
Yes,
Can you imagine if those people would have trained? If those people would have trained, they right there probably lived to be 200.
that's right.
So,
For sure. Yes, Dr. Rufkin, is that his name? He posted a thing yesterday that said that people should be able to live to 150. He said seven, or between
yeah, I
152 to
saw
100.
that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So
Yes.
let's do the things so that we are active until, we're at least 100. I don't want to be in a nursing home. I don't want to be laying around not able to get up out of my chair. So let's move our
No.
bodies. And one more thing before we close, you can't just work out. And so today we're talking about those four muscles, but that we have to incorporate the whole picture, the whole core foundation. And so we'll focus on all those. Next week we'll be talking about the foods and the herbs and how they come into play and how they can help us with muscle recovery, but also other forms of longevity. But thank you for joining us today on Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants. To find out more about Dan, go to danthenaturalman.com. You can hear today he's an excellent um, personal trainer and he would love to train you, I'm sure. So find out more about him. You can find out more about me at holisticgen.com. That is with a W. I spell holistic with a WH. And I also work with clients one-on-one as well and would love to talk to you. If you have something you agreed with or didn't agree with, we want to hear from you. Like and subscribe to our channel and share it with someone who you love and you want to live to be active beyond their hundreds. So until next time, next week, we're talking about muscle recovery, and we can't wait to join you.